Drawing in icons is like minimalism for drawing. It's simple, it's easy, there's a formula to it, and anyone can learn to do it. Hi, I'm Hayley, Chief Doodler at Thoughts Drawn Out. I'm all about getting creativity working so I can help you to make your mark. So whether you've been visual note-taking or sketchnoting for a long time, or you're new to this practice, you're building your skill, drawing with icons is a major part and something that you will continue to build and refine these skills no matter how far into your journey that you get. There's always something new to learn, there's always something new to try, and there's always something new to test your thinking and creativity and keep the practice fresh. So today I would like to share 6 principles that you can keep in mind as you are building your icon drawing skills. Icons should be things that you can draw repeatedly on autopilot with limited cognitive load. The whole idea is that you have things that you know how to draw, that are simple to draw, that don't require a great deal of brain power to redraw time and time again. That's one of the things that makes an icon great. If you have a way of drawing a road, lock it in. You can use that same road icon time and time again in many different contexts with other details that you add around it. Simple, repeatable, and the most important bit is limited cognitive load. You want to be able to draw this stuff on autopilot so that if you're trying to live note take, you're not burning brain power on how do I draw this thing. You want to make the drawing bit as automatic as possible so that your brain can be applied to the task of listening, of sense making, of synthesis. That is where you want your brain focusing its efforts. So the simpler and the more automated you can make your drawing, the better. You don't need to be able to draw as many things as you might think you do. One icon can mean so many different things. So a small library of icons with other details, text, the other components on the page can work for you in innumerable ways. So I have a few that I have on repeat regularly that I can change some of the details around and keep them working for me. So anyone who's done my course before knows that I love to teach a very simple way to draw a robot. And that robot could mean literally a robot. It could represent automation. It could represent like a chatbot. It could be science fiction, technology, digitization. It could be about any futuristic stuff. Like the one icon can go in a number of different directions by the other details that you add around it. So you don't need to be able to draw as many things as you think you do to have a really workable library of icons at your disposal. Great icons are made out of basic shapes. When you do come to figure out how to make something into an icon, you are thinking flat graphic, two-dimensional, just enough detail so that your audience recognize what your icon is there to represent, because that's when it's doing a job. If they recognize it, tick, it's working. So simple is best. So I always like to look at the thing that I'm trying to represent on the page and think, okay, what are the main shapes that make this thing up? Is it a circle? Is it some triangles? So if I go back to my robot example, it's a square for the body, another square for the head, same shape, little bit smaller, connected up with a couple of just basic curved lines. So I'm just thinking about what are the basic shapes that make this up. And I'm just adding enough detail to make it look like the thing. Possibly, if I have time, some extra detail to give it some personality. But once it looks like the thing enough to represent it, it's done. Don't overwork it, don't overdo it, because you need to be able to draw these things fast for them to work in visual note taking or sketchnoting. Fast. That's the key. Make it fast. So building from that last principle, you also want to keep the lines as simple as possible, but you also want to consider your own personal style. So you don't want to sap everything down into the most basic icon that it has no personality. So you might want to think about what are the ways that you add embellishments to your icons, little details that's your signature style, and you do it time and time again. So it's efficient, you know how to do it quickly, you know how to do it well, but it makes the work look like yours. Do you have a particular way that you draw simple figures? Do you always give them a little, interesting haircut? Do you always put hats on their head? Do you give them cool shoes? I don't know, I'm making up things, but the idea is that while simple is best because you want it repeatable and you want it fast, it's okay to know what those flourishes are that give your notes your style. It could be how you color it in and the repeated patterns that you use there. But if you know what that is and you use it consistently and you repeat that pattern over the page and over many pages, that's where you form your personal style. Now, as I alluded to before, your icons are there to represent a concept. They don't have to be realistic. We are not creating realism. That's a different style of art. We are drawing in icons, and icons are symbols that represent things. So once your audience recognize what the symbol is there to represent, it is doing its job, tick, move on. So it could be a very simple set of curved lines with a rectangle underneath, and when your audience can go, that's a tree, it's a tree. The great thing is the way the human brain works. We love patterns. We love to decipher patterns. We like to make sense of patterns. So your audience for your notes, if you're taking them for an audience beyond yourself, they want your picture to work. They're looking for it to work. So as soon as they can decipher enough clues to make sense of something, their brain loves that. They're looking for your picture to work. And if you're ever unsure that your thing looks like what it's supposed to look like, your visual note taking, the picture doesn't have to work on its own. Add words, give it a title, give it a speech bubble, put some text around it. That's the great thing with visual note taking. The notes don't have to work alone and the pictures don't have to work alone. Visual note taking is about bringing them together, and each little component is both image and text, and together they tell the story. So if your picture isn't quite where you'd like it to be, add enough text to fill in the gaps of understanding for your audience, and it will do its job. And finally, humanize your icons wherever possible, because this will help form a connection with the audience of your notes. So what I mean by this is when we are starting to draw in icons, the things that we tend to learn to draw first and our go-to things tend to be the nouns, the things. That's kind of where you start. But over time, as you practice kind of listening to content and translating it into pictures, you're listening for the human side of that. So what was the action that humans were taking in around as a consequence of this concept? Are there emotions involved? And you start to listen for those elements, and those become the things that you capture. And that's what your audience is going to be hooked into, because that's the human stuff. The emotions, the actions, the people interacting with, responding to, experiencing things on the page is where they form their connection in. So humanize your concepts and your icons wherever possible, and you'll form a greater connection with your audience. So these were 6 quick principles from me to help you on your icon drawing journey. If you are learning to sketchnote or visual note take, drawing icons is a major component of that, and it's something that you'll be continuing to perfect and reflect and change and evolve as you move through your learning journey. So keep it up, keep working on building out that icon of library of icons, things that you know how to draw on autopilot. You want to have that kind of locked in, and that makes the whole process easier. Now, if you would like some extra help to pick up these skills, there are plenty of other resources on this channel, plenty of other videos with other tips. I have other resources on the website. You can also sign up and join one of our courses if you really want to dive in and get some extra help. We are all about visual storytelling here at Thoughts Drawn Out, and we'd like to help as many of you on your journey to visual storytelling as possible. Now, if you found this video helpful, please give it a like and make sure to subscribe if you haven't done that already. And please get out there, go and make your mark.